Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I will be talking about and reviewing Abaddon Gate, that is the third book in the Expanse series made by Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank under the pen name of James S.A. Corey. First of all, I'll do a short spoiler-free section. So getting into it, I really liked this book. I thought it had very strong characters, and I was very intrigued with all the intrigue surrounding the ring. No pun intended. Yeah, I'll say this. I have a bit of a mixed background in regard to this particular series of books. I've liked the previous books, but struggled with both of them, especially Caliban's War. Specifically because of some of the characters involved, particularly Holden and Prax. But this one really flowed with me for whatever reason. That, and I really enjoyed the writing side of the authors. Getting into the main part of this review, I will be going into the spoiler territory. So if you haven't read the book and want to, then please do so before watching the rest of this review. I'll start off by going through the characters in an orderly fashion. First up, we have Manio, and to be honest with you guys, I don't remember a whole lot about Manio, but he's the guy from the prologue, the guy who flies his ship into the ring and thereby kicks off the events of the book. Moving on, then we have the familiar character of James Holden, whom we've of course also followed in the previous two books. I feel like I have kind of a weird relationship to Holden as a character, as I spent the majority of the time reading the previous two books thinking that he was a huge hypocrite for villainizing Miller the way he did, when he himself almost started Galactic War twice. But this book has actually given me a much higher opinion of Holden, in part because they made him a lot more bearable in this book. And also I think that his protomolecule hallucinations of Miller make for a very interesting addition to the series and a very interesting plot device. Next up is Bo. I think Bo is in a very interesting position from the beginning. He's close with Fred Johnson, the infamous leader of the OPA, and they go back all the way to when they were both in the Earth Navy, and Fred was his commanding officer. This relationship they have means that the leader of the OPA trusts him, but also that he can't be captain of Behemoth because of his status as an Earther. That the Behemoth that is the ship that he's serving on. It's made to seem as if he would have been captain had he not been born on Earth, and this becomes abundantly clear later in the book when he initiates a mutiny against Captain Ashford, and he also gets crippled in the middle of the book, which makes it necessary for him to move around in his mech, which is this kind of body armor or mechanical suit of sorts. And he has a kind of interesting and antagonizing relationship with his exo power, which he later has to compromise on when he mutinies and makes her captain. And I think it's very interesting. Moving on, now we have a character that particularly fascinated me, and that is of course Clarissa Mao, or Melba Coe, as she goes as for the majority of the book. You might recognize the name Mao, and because that would be because she's the daughter of Jules Pierre Mao, because the head of Mao Kwiatkowski Mercantile, and a big player in the development of the protomolecule, and she's also the sister to Juliet Mao, whose death played a major role in the first book. When I first stumbled upon this character, she almost immediately reminded me of Cersei Lannister from the Song of Ice and Fire books. And although I don't think she's quite as well written, I still really like this villainous aspect to her character. And I also think it's just really interesting to see how far she's willing to go for revenge, against the guy that got her father arrested, and how quickly she seemingly loses that desire for revenge and begins to regret how much she messed up. And later in the book, she keeps thinking about Bryn, this guy that she killed. Because he was onto her. I think I don't remember exactly. But yeah, anyway, this may also be a bit random, but I also think, but this also reminds me a bit of The Last of Us Part 2, and Abby's desire for revenge, and subsequently finding out that revenge doesn't make her troubles go away. And yeah, I think Clarissa or Melba has a kind of a similar revelation. Next up is Anna Volovodov. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's a character who also greatly fascinated me. She's a priestess, a martyr, and she's a very compassionate character. She plays a major role in grounding the religious aspect of the plot, and I think it's very interesting to see how she balances the concept of God with the ever-expanding grasp of the human race, and tries to keep all of these different religions and denominations together. I don't really know what else to say, except that I think she's a very cool character who has risked a lot to be present in one of the most important moments in the history of humanity, as well as risking a lot during the book with her fight with Melba and her broadcast with Monica and her crew during the counter mutiny against Captain Ashford. Yeah. Next, I want to talk a bit about the plot and the important stuff that happens within it. So to start off, let's talk a bit about Melba and her revenge plot. So yeah, I think that it was very interesting to see Melba and her journey toward revenge. The move to frame Holden for the destruction of the Song, although I think it was a bit too easy. It was still there. I still think it was a very interesting and fairly believable, given Holden's history of blabbering up every single detail to the entire solar system. And there's the stuff surrounding the mutiny about the Behemoth and the counter mutiny that occurs later in the book. The first mutiny in and of itself is very interesting, but what I really want to talk about is the counter mutiny. First of all, the sudden murder of Sam really threw me off, and sort of cemented Ashford's descent into madness. It's also really interesting to see the juxtaposition between the calm but kind of weird energy in the bridge, the chaotic and vulnerable Indian studios of Radio Free Slow Zone, and the pure chaos in the drum. Yeah, in general, I really like the writing in this book. It's not the strongest I've ever read. Something like George R. R. Martin, Bernard Tennyson, or John R. Tolkien, but I still think it's very strong. In summation, I really love this book. I like the characters, the plot, and all that stuff, and although I think it's very tough for me to give this book a rating from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. It's in my opinion an excellent book that I would very much recommend reading. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the book down in the comment section though. Anyway, that will be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to follow me on other social media, you can find me on Blue Sky and Twitch. Link will be in the description. Please consider liking and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. And if you enjoyed the video, then please check out the video that should be on the screen right about now. And without any further ado, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.